So in this video, I'm going to be going over what I believe to be the top 3 best but most risky Pokemon investments in the Scarlet and Violet era as of right now. So I wanted to mention, just in case you didn't notice, but I have upgraded my microphone, so hopefully the audio quality is better than before. So a product, a set, can be good in itself. Like, for example, 151, which I'll be talking about here first. It's a very good set, right? I don't think anyone's really denying that. But there could be other factors of why buying a product of 151 could be risky at the time being. And that's what I'm going to be talking about here today. I've picked 3 sets which I believe that they're good sets, but the products right now, there's a multitude of reasons why it would be risky, in my opinion, to be buying them. So first, we're going to be talking about 151, because to me this is the first one that came into my mind when I was thinking about what sets fit this criteria. 151 is the perfect one. So 151 is argued to be one of, if not the best, Scarlet and Violet set out there. So just generally, everybody likes this set, and there's a lot of reasons why people like this set. But first, I want to talk about why 151 just even out the gate was shown to be a super strong set. So this set was released on September 21st of 2023. This was during the time of Scarlet and Violet when booster boxes were coming out the gate, $90 to $100. Scarlet and Violet, this was still early on. The change from yellow to silver borders, the change of artwork style, and just overall we were coming from a boom from Sword and Shield, and Scarlet and Violet, really the start of it. That market really started to dip, and just the change to Scarlet and Violet. Overall, a lot of these sets came out the gate very cheap. A lot of the products were releasing well under MSRP. But 151 was different. Even though during this time the Pokemon market was not very strong, it still released at MSRP for the Elite Trainer Box, $49.99. And that was crazy because back then, like I said, booster boxes, they were releasing $90 to $100. MSRP for a booster box is $161. So this was pretty crazy to see, but there was a lot of hype for 151. But obviously, looking at the price now, releasing at MSRP, if 151 was released in this sort of market, obviously it'd be a lot more expensive. So 151 just out the gate was shown to be a very strong set. There was hype, but it was obviously nothing like we've seen previously with some of these sets. Now, the reason why 151 is so popular, and it's always been popular, and also, when the market did change, 151 got even more expensive because the growth for 151 in the beginning was gradual, but when the market changed like mid last year, 151 prices started to go crazy. But moving on, you're talking about why the set is so popular. 151, it literally just revolves around first generation. Obviously, it's called 151, right? So that's a huge reason why the set is popular, because everybody knows the original 151 Pokemon. Even if you're not a huge Pokemon fan, you know at least some of those Pokemon. So the fact that this whole set is revolving around that, it's going to be popular, right? But even just other than, featuring first gen Pokemon, it has great artworks. And also for your average collector, pull rates for the set were not extremely difficult, so people liked opening up this set. So you take into consideration that this features first generation Pokemon. A lot of just even like normal people know about these Pokemon, has great artworks, pull rates are not that difficult. This is going to be a very well liked set, which is why it's gotten so expensive. So in itself, 151 is a very good set, but there's a few problems that I see with 151 that buying Elite Trainer boxes as of right now. So the first clear problem is that the Elite Trainer boxes are so expensive, right? The Elite Trainer boxes are already $250, which is $140 more than Prismatic Evolutions. So if you think Prismatic Evolutions is expensive, look at 151 and you can see in comparison how you could say maybe even cheap Prismatic Evolutions is. Because 151, you can see here by the date, it is not even 2 years old yet, and it's $250 for a normal Elite Trainer box. So that price point, this set being not that old, is somewhat concerning. And mentioning and going off of this set not being that old, this set could still get reprinted for another year. But will ETBs get reprinted? This has been a topic that I've talked about for a long time now, how 151 has been very strange, because Pokemon has reprinted multiple 151 products previously, poster collection boxes, booster bundles. They've reprinted Blooming Waters collection boxes and probably some other products that I'm not mentioning here. But ETBs really haven't gotten reprinted recently in the past year. If you go to the year chart on TCG Player, these ETBs have not been reprinted at all. There's been no price dips at all. It's just gone straight up, which is why they're so expensive. So if you're buying an ETB right now at $250, you have to think about, okay, at this price point, at least for the next year or two, how much more can it really go up? It's still get reprinted. Maybe will prices dip? Will they reprint the ETBs? There's a lot of factors that makes buying this ETB right now pretty risky, because $250 is like 5 times MSRP. So right now for this set, I would say just it's pretty risky. It's not even 2 years old yet, and it could get reprinted. Who knows? But overall, 151 still is a great set. It's just mainly the price point and how new 151 is really, because it could still get reprinted. So there's the risk in buying 151 Elite Trainer boxes. So next here, Destined Rivals. I think this is another one that was pretty obvious to think about when you're thinking about a really good set that's kind of risky to buy. Destined Rivals is a big one. So Destined Rivals is the most hyped up set by far in Scarlet and Violet. It's had way more hype than any other set you can even name. Had more hype than obviously 151. Had more hype than Surging Sparks. More hype than Prismatic Evolutions. More hype than Journey Together. And that might sound crazy, but when you really think about what's happened and how much hype was building up for the set, it's really not. So this Team Rocket themed set was announced late, or not late, but mid last year, around when the championship for Pokemon, around that time. I'm pretty sure it was actually announced during that event. They announced that there would be some sort of Team Rocket set, right? So people knew this in the mid 2024. I'm pretty sure it was like May, June, August, like it was somewhere around there. And that was about a year ago, right? Because the release date for this set was May 30th of 2025. So it's about a whole year. So it's had a whole year for hype to build up. And people will talk about there being this Team Rocket set literally every single day until the set was released. So it's had so much hype to build up for the set. It's had so much time. So this is the most hyped up set by far in Scarlet and Violet. So Destined Rivals, the reason why there's so much hype and it's such a popular set is because the Team Rocket nostalgia. Obviously, there's some other components to this set that aren't Team Rocket themed, but it's mainly Team Rocket themed. I mean, look at the booster box, the packs, the top chase cards. They're all Team Rocket themed. So many Pokemon fans like the older theme sets like Team Rocket, first gen stuff, even, you could say the trainer stuff, but obviously Journey Together's performance says otherwise. But Team Rocket is an older thing, but people know about it and people like the theme, which is why we see it performing extremely well and why there was so much hype building up for the set. So Destined Rivals, it being very liked, is the most expensive main set in Scarlet and Violet by far. The second most expensive main set in Scarlet and Violet is Surging Sparks at $1,130. So this set is about $800 more expensive than Surging Sparks. Now, obviously, this set is much newer, and if you were to, fast forward maybe 6 months later, prices will probably dip a bit. But just the fact that it's this expensive, and it's been this expensive for a while now since being released, shows the strength with this set. So, speaking about strength, it's really had a strong post-release performance. Sealed, products, card prices have not really dropped much since release, which was about a month ago. You can see on this picture here, they've dropped a bit, but it's really only $10. They released it around $255. Now it's at $245, so it's dropped $10. So it really hasn't dropped much. Card prices, the total set value for Destined Rivals at release was pretty crazy, but when it started to adjust, it hit around $2,000 and it stayed at around $2,000 as of right now. So this set has just been very stable since being released. Things really haven't dropped much in price, unlike Journey Together, which obviously had its hype for a little bit, but then things started to quickly fall off. And obviously this set is nowhere near like Journey Together. And also, you got to think about it this way. Destined Rivals was sort of also released in a market where it was not as strong as it was 3 to 6 months ago. And I know that sounds kind of crazy because the market still is strong, but it wasn't like Prismatic Evolutions release, right? I think if you guys remember when Prismatic Evolutions was released, there was so much drama, so much craziness, huge amount of sales for Prismatic Evolutions. And for Destined Rivals, the release was very strong, right? But the drama, the craziness wasn't there like it was for Prismatic. So it was released in a time where the market was a little bit cooled off. It was starting to enter summer, and it's at this point it's been what, like about 8 months of this hype market. So it wasn't released really what I would say to be at the very, very peak, because I truly believe Prismatic, that was like the craziness in the top of like the drama, the market, and all the the mayhem really, because Destined Rivals, even though the release was very strong, you didn't see a ton of drama like Prismatic Evolutions. So yes, Destined Rivals is a very strong set, but buying right now, specifically the booster box, could be seen to be risky. Now, I have purchased a few of these booster boxes in the mid 220s just because I believe that booster boxes, they may drop in the future. I really think they will, but it's how much will they drop. So for me, thinking that this set, in my opinion, is like the best main set we've ever seen in Scarlet and Violet, I wanted to pick up some. But it's not the best idea to pick up a ton of these, especially right now if you're buying at market price at $245 at pretty much just a month later. Like, that's pretty expensive. It's the newest set in Scarlet and Violet, and obviously being this new, it has multiple years of being reprinted. So obviously the prices may drop in the future, but the question is, how much will they drop? When will they drop? When will this get reprinted? By the time it gets reprinted, how much will prices drop from where it's at? Will it be cheaper than what it's at currently? You are playing that game, but truly, booster boxes coming out the gate this expensive, most likely it'll at least be a little bit cheaper sometime in the future. But the future, you can't predict it, so nobody really knows, because this is really the most hyped up set in the most expensive main set. So we're talking about a very popular set here. It's not just like a random just set that's not that popular. For example, like Stellar Crown, in that in the future, if it gets reprinted or when hype starts to fall off, we'll see huge price dips, because for Destined Rivals, it being this popular and we're seeing the strong performance, it will drop in the future, but it may not drop as much as if it was like some other set if it got reprinted. So we'll see what happens with Destined Rivals, but as of right now, it is pretty risky to buy it because it is pretty expensive. Now lastly here, Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade is a very good set, and in my opinion, and it has been talked about in the space, it was a major factor of why the market turned in Scarlet and Violet. So until this point, Scarlet and Violet was not very popular. Obviously, 151 was released. That was pretty popular, but it never got super expensive. It was maybe at this point, maybe $60, $70, like around there. It wasn't crazy, and the whole market just overall wasn't going crazy. The market was still pretty just tame. Nothing was really super expensive. Booster boxes at this point, for all the other boxes, were still like $100. So booster boxes and everything weren't like crazy and releasing at super high prices at this point. But this set releasing was really, in my opinion, the turning point, because it featured the Greninja SIR, which was the most expensive card you really saw in the Scarlet and Violet, because until this point, there was really no big chase in the Scarlet and Violet era, which was one of the things that was really missing in the Scarlet and Violet era, is that there was no super expensive chase card. But the Greninja, everybody saw the card get revealed, everyone went crazy. Prices for this card out the gate were very expensive, and it was the most expensive card by far in this era, which brought a lot of attention to Pokemon. Hey, there's this card, it's like a couple $100, which was crazy in the Scarlet and Violet era. And obviously there's also the Eevee card. So this was, in my opinion, a huge turning point for the era, because people saw this Greninja card and like, wow, this card is really cool, and it got very expensive. So in my opinion, that is one of the historical things behind Twilight Masquerade, that it really started, in my opinion, sort of this market to turn around in Scarlet and Violet. And also, Twilight Masquerade, obviously, other than just being a major factor in the turning point of the Scarlet and Violet market, it just had a very strong performance, as we've seen so far it being released. I mean, it was released just about a year ago. It's about 13 months old, and it is already the second most expensive booster box in the Scarlet and Violet era. It is just behind Paldea Evolved, which is right now $345. But Paldea Evolved is the second main set, so it's about a whole year older than Twilight Masquerade. But Twilight Masquerade is still the second most expensive booster box. So it is surprising that it's gotten this expensive, but the Green Ninja has been a very strong card in this era. So Twilight Masquerade overall is a very good set, but there's a few problems with this set. First is that it's a relatively new set, and it is the second most expensive booster box in the Scarlet and Violet era. So, saying relatively new obviously is somewhat, I guess objective, but it is in a weird spot because it's not like it's been released in the past 6 months. It's not like it's 2 years old at this point. It's in the middle. It's like a year old, right? So it's sort of in that weird area where it's in the middle. It's not old, it's not new, and it's very expensive. It's more expensive than Surging Sparks booster boxes. It's more expensive than Destined Rivals booster boxes. And the big question, right, with this, the age of this set and how expensive it is that will there be more future reprints, right? There's already been a reprint of Twilight Masquerade booster boxes we got a few months ago, and prices basically didn't do anything, right? They dropped, I think, a tiny bit maybe, but it was like minuscule, right? And let's say there is another reprint that comes in the future. Will the reprint even do anything to the market? Because there's been examples of reprints of sets, they've gotten reprinted multiple times, but none of the reprints really did anything to prices. And there's a couple examples of that. Paldea Evolved and Obsidian Flames. These two booster boxes have gotten reprinted like twice at this point, and both times they've gotten reprinted, prices dropped basically like nothing. Like nothing really changed with the prices of the booster boxes when they got reprinted. So Twilight Masquerade could be that way, where maybe it gets reprinted, but it's maybe minuscule and it does nothing. Or maybe in the future, it gets reprinted a decent amount and prices drop more. So that's why it is risky, because you are playing that game. It's going to get reprinted. If they reprint it, isn't even do anything to the market. Right now, it's not that old. It's the second most expensive booster box. Is it really a good buy? It's really hard to say, right? So Twilight Masquerade is overall, it's a really good set, but how old it is and it being this expensive makes it sort of a risky buy right now, in my opinion. So this is the three sets I believe to be very good. The products are good. Obviously, the booster box, the Elite Trainer box for 151, they're good. But right now, there's a lot of reasons why, in my opinion, they're risky. Mainly just being the price point and how old each of the sets are. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments below. Is there anything that I missed here? Is there any set that you would have put in here instead of maybe Twilight or Destined? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.